Today, I'm excited to share with you a brand new weekly series that I'm going to be rolling into the usual podcast lineup, implementing some Stoic ideas and philosophy into things. I've been getting a lot of requests in the comments and in different places around that. So hey, let's give it a shot, right? Let's start with today, 6 things you should do every morning according to the Stoics. I've obviously been a huge advocate of maximizing your morning routine. Creates momentum, kind of sets you up for the whole day. Now, the unique thing about that is it doesn't need to be anything specific or particular. You know, as the great Charlie Munger said, you are your own experiment. Understand what you like, what lights you up, and move towards that. There is no one size fits all. However, I did find these Stoic guidelines to be incredibly helpful, particularly in gaining perspective. So that said, here are 6 things you should do every morning according to the Stoics. Number 1 is take time to reflect on what you can control. Seneca famously said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." You know that feeling when you're stressed, your heart rate's elevated a little bit. Sometimes you can't even point to why, right? You're just overwhelmed. I think it's beneficial to start your day by identifying what's within your control and what's not, because doing so sets a tone of empowerment and focus. It shrinks that big, overwhelming world down and makes it feel manageable. It reminds you, hey, you can exhaust energy on, you name it, weather or outside events or things that happened yesterday. You can do that all day long. But guess what? You can't change those things. Empowerment is highlighting the few things you can control. Right? I recently saw someone draw on a whiteboard a giant circle. They said, "This is life." And then within that, drew a little circle and said, "These are the things you actually have control over." So focus on your little circle. Own it, cherish it. One of my favorite quotes is, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." It's by Tolstoy. You cannot control outside events, but you can control you. And if you take the time to understand that and to really hone in on the things you can change, you empower yourself. That's how you change the world. Number 2, every morning practice gratitude. Epictetus has said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." I used to see this as certainly a nice thing, but a little fluffy, right? Not imperative. Kind of like, okay, sure, be thankful. But what I've come to learn is the power in taking time every day to look around and acknowledge the things that we often take for granted. The things that have just become so expected, we're so immersed in them that we cease to appreciate them. I reference every once in a while the migraines I get as a precious reminder, ironically enough, to appreciate the absence of pain, right? Like normally, who looks around and thinks, yes, I'm not in pain today. What a treat, what a gift to be alive. We need to find that perspective. Gratitude is a reminder not to wait until things are taken or gone to appreciate them. It's acknowledging them now. Create something to contrast life's little inconveniences against. Sure, X happened, and X is not ideal. It's annoying and uncomfortable. But look around. Look at all you do have, because you have it pretty good. And being armed with that perspective is a gift. Number 3, every morning meditate on your mortality, also known as memento mori. And this is focusing on the impermanence of life to truly hone in on and capitalize on the present moment, to appreciate the now. Seneca has said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day." In a way, similar to gratitude, one before on the list, this creates a very powerful perspective. We aren't here forever. And very rarely do we take the time to acknowledge that impermanence. Why hold anything back? Why play small? Why not delve fully into who you are and what matters? Again, we are but a raindrop in a thunderstorm. So make the most of the journey. Number 4, every morning set realistic goals for the day. Focus on what can actually be achieved. As Epictetus has said, if you wish to be a writer, then write. And this ties into the first idea I mentioned about focusing on what you can control. Very similar concept. Every day, create targets for yourself that you can hit. Manufacture obstacles that you can overcome. There's nothing better than going to bed at night knowing you accomplished everything you set out to accomplish. When you do that, you start to identify as someone who succeeds, who faces obstacles and overcomes. But this means learning to break the big things down into that which is actionable. To continue on from Epictetus' quote, you can't write a book in a day, but you can set the expectation for yourself that you'll write 5 pages. That's actionable. That not only pushes you forward, but contributes to your identity as a high performer. It helps you build momentum. Great things come from a willingness to break big dreams down into actionable steps and carry them out. Number 5, every morning cultivate resilience. Reflect on past difficulties and how you've overcome them. Epictetus wrote, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." Sometimes we do so much looking forward that we forget to look back. As pointed out by Dan Sullivan in a great book called The Gap and the Gain, the ideal is a target always out of reach. It's always far away. And if that's all we see, then we will never be enough. But when we compare ourselves to who we were yesterday, we're reminded of our resilience. We're shown the things we've overcome to get to the now. Because look, you've had many difficulties before today. Plenty of hard times. And the fact that you're standing here means, in some capacity, you've triumphed over all of it. Don't forget that that ability lives within you, that you are stronger than you think and more capable than you can even imagine. And lastly, number 6, practice kindness and empathy. As Seneca has said, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. This goes a long way, not only in the contentment it will bring to you personally, but in the ability to make the world a better place, to feel like you're contributing to something bigger. Kindness is a superpower, it's a strength, and it always has a way of coming right back to you. So being that it costs nothing to be kind, and that the impact of doing so is clear and so valuable, it's worth the time to think about how you can bring that light to yourself and others. It will change your life, and it will change the world around you.